What if I told you there are cars out there that laugh in the face of breakdowns? Cars that treat 200,000 miles like a warm-up lap. While your neighbor's luxury sedan is making its 5th trip to the mechanic this year, these bulletproof machines just keep going and going and going. They're like the Energizer Bunny, except they won't cost you your life savings and repair bills. Today, I'm revealing 7 cars that mechanics hate because they never see them. These are the cars that break the internet, break records, but refuse to break down. Stick around because number 3 will absolutely shock you. It's probably sitting in your driveway right now. Let's dive in.
Kicking off our list is a car that's basically the overachiever of the automotive world, the Subaru Forester. Now, I know what you're thinking. A Subaru? Really? Yes, really. Because while other SUVs are busy looking pretty on Instagram photos, the Forester is out there climbing mountains, surviving snowstorms, and still making it to work on Monday morning without complaining. Here's the thing about Subaru. They've perfected something called the Boxer engine. Picture this. Instead of pistons going up and down like they're doing jumping jacks, they punch horizontally at each other like tiny mechanical boxers. And yes, that's actually why it's called a boxer engine. This design creates perfect balance, less vibration, and a lower center of gravity. It's engineering genius wrapped in a practical package that looks like it shops at the same store as your favorite hiking boots. But here's where it gets really interesting. Subaru's symmetrical all-wheel drive system isn't some part-time gig that only shows up when things get slippery. No. This thing is working 24/7, 365 days a year, constantly adjusting power to each wheel. It's like having a personal driving assistant that never takes a coffee break. Rain, snow, mud, or your mother-in-law's unpaved driveway, the Forester handles it all without breaking a sweat. Now let's talk reliability numbers, because this is where your jaw might actually hit the floor. The Forester regularly sees 200,000 to 300,000 miles without major engine work. We're talking about a car that could literally drive to the moon and most of the way back. Consumer Reports consistently ranks it among the most reliable SUVs, and owner surveys show that Forester drivers are more likely to buy another Subaru than almost any other brand. That's not marketing hype. That's trust earned through years of dependability. The secret sauce? Subaru keeps it simple. While other manufacturers are cramming in complicated turbochargers and dual-clutch transmissions that require a PhD to repair, Subaru sticks with proven technology that actually works. Their continuously variable transmission might not be the most exciting thing on paper, but it's bulletproof. And that Boxer engine? It's been refined over decades into something that mechanics describe with words like unkillable and ridiculously robust. Here's my favorite part. Subaru owners are basically a cult, but like the good kind of cult. They wave at each other on the road, they swap stories about their car's longevity, and they genuinely get emotional when talking about their Foresters. I've met people who've driven theirs through 10 winters, across continents, and through apocalyptic road conditions. And the worst thing they've had to replace is a set of windshield wipers. That's not a car, that's a relationship. So if you want an SUV that treats reliability like it's a personal mission, that shrugs off maintenance neglect better than a teenager shrugs off responsibility, and that'll still be running when your neighbor's fancy European SUV is on its 3rd transmission replacement, the Subaru Forester is your answer. It's not flashy, it won't turn heads at a car show, but it will absolutely positively get you where you need to go every single time without drama. But wait, if you think a practical SUV is impressive, our next car takes reliability to a whole different level. We're talking about a vehicle so dependable, it's literally changed the way an entire generation thinks about car ownership.
All right, number 2 is gonna surprise you, and I mean really surprise you. The 2012 Mitsubishi ASX. Now, before you click away thinking I've lost my mind, hear me out, because this little crossover is the automotive equivalent of that quiet kid in class who ends up becoming a millionaire. Nobody's talking about it, nobody's making YouTube videos with millions of views about it, but owners? They're laughing all the way to the bank while everyone else is at the dealership service center.
The ASX, which some of you might know as the Outlander Sport depending on where you live, is built on what I like to call the philosophy of boring excellence. Mitsubishi didn't try to reinvent the wheel here. They took their proven 2.0-liter four-cylinder engine, the same basic architecture they'd been perfecting since the early 2000s, and paired it with either a rock-solid 5-speed manual or a bulletproof CVT. Nothing fancy, nothing complicated, just pure mechanical simplicity that repair shops can't find a way to break even if they tried. Here's what makes this year specifically special. The 2012 model hit that sweet spot in Mitsubishi's production timeline where they'd worked out all the early kinks but hadn't started cost-cutting to compete with flashy arrivals. The build quality on these things is absolutely ridiculous for the price point. We're talking about engines that routinely cruise past 250,000 miles with nothing more than regular oil changes and the occasional spark plug replacement. I've seen ASXs with over 300,000 miles still running on their original transmission, and that's not luck, that's engineering done right. But let's talk about something nobody mentions in car reviews: the psychology of ownership. When you drive an ASX, nobody's trying to race you at stoplights, nobody's keying your doors out of jealousy. Insurance companies look at it and go, "Oh, a sensible choice," and give you reasonable rates. It's the automotive equivalent of being invisible, except your bank account is very visible and it's healthier because you're not hemorrhaging money on repairs. The suspension setup deserves its own standing ovation. Mitsubishi built these with their rally racing DNA, which means the ASX can take an absolute beating and keep going. Potholes that would send a luxury crossover crying to the alignment shop, the ASX just shrugs and asks, "Is that all you've got?" The chassis is overbuilt, the components are understressed, and the whole package is engineered with a margin of safety that would make other manufacturers blush. Now, I know what you're thinking, but it's a Mitsubishi. Aren't they out of the market in some places? Yes, and that's actually part of its charm. Because Mitsubishi focused on building cars that didn't need to come back for warranty work, these things have incredibly low failure rates. Parts are still widely available because the platform was used globally for over a decade, and any competent mechanic can work on it without needing specialized training or tools that cost more than the car itself. The real kicker? Depreciation has been your best friend if you're a smart buyer. These ASXs have already taken their biggest value hit, which means you can pick up a well-maintained 2012 model for a fraction of what people are paying for less reliable crossovers. Then you drive it for another decade without major issues while everyone else is making car payments and repair appointments. It's not about being cheap, it's about being clever. Now, if an underrated Japanese crossover can be this reliable, imagine what happens when a legendary nameplate decides to take dependability seriously. Our next entry isn't just reliable, it's become the gold standard that every other manufacturer wishes they could match.
And here it is. Number 3. The car I promised would shock you, the Honda Pilot. Now, some of you are probably thinking, that's not shocking, that's just common sense. And you know what? You're absolutely right, which is exactly why it's shocking. In a world where everyone's chasing turbocharged engines, fancy electronics, and gimmicks that break before you finish reading the owner's manual, Honda said, "Nah, we're gonna build a 3-row SUV that your grandkids will inherit." That's not just confidence, that's a flex. The Pilot is what happens when a company that built its reputation on making bulletproof Accords and Civics decides to scale up. We're talking about Honda's legendary J35 V6 engine, a power plant so reliable that mechanics have literally told owners, "I'll see you in 200,000 miles for your next major service." This isn't an engine, it's a promise wrapped in aluminum and good intentions. It produces a healthy 280 horsepower in most configurations, but more importantly, it does it day after day, year after year, without drama, without tantrums, without suddenly deciding it needs a $5,000 repair at the worst possible moment. But here's where the Pilot absolutely embarrasses its competition. While other 3-row SUVs are busy having transmission meltdowns that require mortgaging your house to fix, Honda equipped the Pilot with transmissions that are so over-engineered they could probably survive a nuclear apocalypse. The 5-speed and 6-speed automatics in earlier generations and the 9-speed in later models are designed with one goal: never give owners a reason to doubt. and they deliver on that promise with the consistency of a Swiss watch, except this Swiss watch can carry 8 people and tow 5,000 pounds. Let's talk about something that doesn't get enough credit: the pilot's timing belt versus timing chain debate. Depending on the generation you get, you'll find Honda's meticulous attention to longevity. Even on models with timing belts, they're interference engines designed with such precision that following the maintenance schedule basically guarantees you'll never have a catastrophic failure. It's preventative engineering at its finest, and it's why used pilots with 150,000 miles are still selling for prices that would make other manufacturers jealous. The interior durability is where things get almost comical. I've seen pilots with 250,000 miles where the dashboard isn't cracked, the seats aren't torn, and the climate control buttons still click with the satisfying precision of day one. Honda doesn't just build cars to last mechanically, they build them to age gracefully. It's like they sat down and asked, what if we made an SUV that doesn't fall apart even when you treat it like a mobile trash can for a decade? And then they actually did it. Here's my favorite real-world example. I know families who bought pilots new, drove them through 3 kids' worth of soccer practices, road trips, and grocery runs, then handed them down to those same kids as their first cars. We're talking vehicles with 300,000 miles that are still reliable enough to trust a teenager with. And if that's not a testament to Honda's engineering, I don't know what is. The Pilot doesn't just survive, it thrives under conditions that would destroy lesser SUVs. The best part? Honda resale value means you're not just buying reliability, you're making an investment. While other SUVs depreciate faster than milk spoils in the sun, Pilots hold their value like they're made of gold. That's the market telling you something important. People trust these machines, and they're willing to pay for that trust even when buying used. If Honda proves that Japanese engineering can create a family SUV that refuses to quit, our next vehicle takes that same philosophy and applies it to something completely different. We're shifting gears from suburban warriors to a vehicle that conquers some of the harshest conditions on Earth.
Number 4 is the Toyota RAV4. And honestly, putting this on a reliability list almost feels like cheating. It's like putting Michael Jordan on a list of good basketball players. Technically accurate, but also massively underselling what we're dealing with here. The RAV4 isn't just reliable, it's become the benchmark that every other compact SUV gets measured against. And spoiler alert, they all fall short. Toyota has been building the RAV4 since the mid-90s, and in that time, they've perfected the art of making a vehicle that simply refuses to die. We're talking about a company that's so obsessed with quality control, they probably have quality control for their quality control. Every generation of the RAV4 has improved on the last, but they've never abandoned the core principle. Build it once, build it right, and make sure it outlasts everything else on the road. That's not marketing speak, that's a business model. The engine lineup reads like a greatest hits album of reliability. The 2.5-liter 4-cylinder that powers most modern RAV4s is so efficient and dependable that it's almost boring. And I mean that as the highest compliment possible. This engine delivers solid power, excellent fuel economy, and the kind of longevity that makes accountants weep tears of joy. Then you've got the hybrid models, which add Toyota's legendary hybrid system into the mix. Now, most people think hybrids are complicated and expensive to maintain, but Toyota's been perfecting this technology for over 2 decades. These hybrid RAV4s are running 300,000 miles with original batteries still performing like new. And that's not a fluke. That's Toyota being Toyota. Here's something that separates the RAV4 from pretenders. It's designed for global markets, which means it has to survive everything from Arctic winters to desert heat, from smooth highways to roads that barely qualify as suggestions of roads. Toyota doesn't build different RAV4s for different conditions. They build one RAV4 that can handle all conditions. That level of over-engineering means when you're driving it in normal circumstances, you're basically operating a vehicle that's built for conditions 3 times harsher than anything you'll throw at it. It's like hiring a Navy SEAL to help you move furniture. Technically overkill, but you know the job's getting done right. The RAV4's reputation has created something fascinating in the used car market. These things hold their value so stubbornly that 5-year-old models are selling for prices that would buy you a brand new car from other manufacturers. But here's the plot twist.
People are still buying them at those prices because they know a RAV4 with 100,000 miles is just getting warmed up. I've personally seen RAV4s with over 400,000 miles still running strong, still passing inspections, still looking like they could go another 400,000 without breaking a sweat. At that point, it's not even a car anymore, it's a family heirloom. Let's talk about maintenance costs, because this is where your wallet will thank you. The RAV4 has been so popular for so long that parts are everywhere, mechanics know these vehicles inside and out, and repairs when you actually need them are refreshingly affordable. Compare that to European luxury crossovers where a routine service costs more than a weekend vacation, and you start to understand why smart buyers gravitate toward the RAV4. It's not about being cheap, it's about being intelligent with your money. The absolute best thing about owning a RAV4? Peace of mind. You don't wake up wondering if today is the day something expensive breaks. You don't nervously listen for weird noises. You don't budget for surprise repairs. You just drive it, maintain it according to the schedule, and it rewards you with years of absolutely boring, predictable, glorious reliability. And in a world full of automotive chaos, boring reliability is actually the most exciting thing you can buy. Now, if Toyota's mastery of compact SUVs impresses you, buckle up, because our next vehicle takes reliability to legendary status. We're talking about a machine so dependable, it's literally reshaping entire industries and rewriting the rules of what's possible.
All right, number 5 is going to raise some eyebrows, and I'm here for it. The Dacia Duster. Now, for those of you who've never heard of Dacia, don't worry, you're not alone. This is a brand that flies so far under the radar, it's practically underground. But here's the beautiful secret that European, African, and Middle Eastern drivers have known for years. The Duster is what happens when you strip away all the nonsense and build a vehicle that just works. It's the automotive equivalent of that no-name brand at the store that's somehow better than the expensive one, except it has a name, and that name is winning. Dacia is owned by Renault, which means it has access to proven engineering and decades of development. But here's the genius part. They're not trying to impress anyone. There's no fancy marketing campaign, no celebrity endorsements, no promises of luxury that break down in 3 years. The Duster's mission statement is brutally simple. Be affordable, be tough, be reliable, and don't apologize for not having heated massage seats. And you know what? It absolutely crushes that mission. The engine options are deliberately basic, and that's precisely why they last forever. We're talking about naturally aspirated petrol engines and proven diesel units that have been refined over years of real-world use. These aren't cutting-edge power plants trying to squeeze every drop of performance through complex turbocharging and direct injection wizardry. They're workhorses that prioritize longevity over Instagram-worthy spec sheets. The 1.5-liter diesel in particular has become legendary in markets where it's available. Taxi drivers in Eastern Europe are putting 500,000 kilometers on these engines without major rebuilds. And if a taxi driver trusts it, you know it's bulletproof. Now here's where the Duster becomes genuinely fascinating from a reliability perspective. Because Dacia isn't charging luxury prices, they can't afford to have cars coming back with problems. Their entire business model depends on building vehicles that stay out of the shop, because warranty claims would destroy their thin profit margins. This creates an incentive structure that actually works in the buyer's favor. They're forced to use reliable components, simple systems, and proven technology because anything else would bankrupt them. It's capitalism accidentally creating the perfect reliability machine. The four-wheel drive system on AWD models is refreshingly straightforward. There's no fancy electronic wizardry that requires a computer science degree to diagnose when it breaks. It's mechanical, it's simple, and it works. I've seen Dusters tackle mountain roads, desert terrain, and muddy farm tracks that would make a Range Rover owner nervous, and the Duster just shrugs it off like it's another Tuesday. The ground clearance is generous, the approach angles are surprisingly capable, and the whole package is designed to be abused and keep going. Let's address the elephant in the room. Yes, the interior is basic. You're not getting soft-touch materials everywhere, the infotainment system isn't going to blow your mind, and there are more hard plastics than a kindergarten toy box. But here's the thing, none of that breaks. There are no complicated electronic seat adjustments to fail, no panoramic sunroofs to leak, no digital dashboard clusters to glitch out. everything is simple, tactile, and built to last. It's like Dacia looked at all the things that break in modern cars and said, what if we just didn't include those? Revolutionary thinking. The real genius of the Duster shows up in developing markets and rural areas where it's become the vehicle of choice for people who actually need reliability, not just performance claims. It's been used as everything from family transportation to commercial work vehicles, and it handles both roles without complaint. Parts are cheap, repairs are straightforward, and any mechanic with basic tools can work on it. That's not primitive, that's practical engineering at its finest. If a budget-friendly SUV from Romania can prove that simplicity equals reliability, wait until you see what happens when a compact off-roader decides to punch way above its weight class. Our next vehicle is small in size, but absolutely massive in capability and reliability.
Number 6 is the Suzuki Grand Vitara, and if you've never considered one, you're about to have your mind completely blown. This is the automotive world's best-kept secret, a compact SUV that's been quietly conquering terrains and racking up mileage that would make other vehicles beg for retirement. While everyone's obsessing over big-name brands, the Grand Vitara has been out there proving that size doesn't matter when you've got solid engineering and an unbreakable spirit. Suzuki built their reputation on motorcycles and small cars that could survive absolutely anything, and they poured all that knowledge into the Grand Vitara. We're talking about a company that knows how to squeeze maximum reliability out of compact powertrains, because their survival depended on it. The result? A vehicle that weighs less than its competitors, which means less stress on every component, less brake wear, less tire wear, and engines that aren't working overtime just to move the vehicle down the road. It's physics working in your favor. The engine options are brilliantly understated. The 2.4-liter four-cylinder that powers most Grand Vitaras is an absolute gem. Smooth, responsive, and built with tolerances that would make a Swiss watchmaker jealous. This engine doesn't produce supercar numbers, but it produces something way more valuable: consistency. Day 1 performance is basically day 1,000 performance, and owners are regularly seeing 250,000 miles without major engine work. Then there's the available V6 in certain markets, a 2.7-liter power plant that's equally bulletproof and gives you a nice bump in power without sacrificing that legendary Suzuki reliability. Here's where the Grand Vitara absolutely embarrasses vehicles twice its price: genuine off-road capability. This isn't some mall crawler with all-wheel drive that's really just front-wheel drive with occasional help from the rear. The Grand Vitara comes with a proper 2-speed transfer case, low-range gearing, and a body-on-frame construction in earlier generations that makes it a legitimate off-road machine. I've seen these little beasts tackle trails that full-size SUVs struggle with, and they do it with the cheerful confidence of someone who knows they're tougher than they look. The simplicity of the Grand Vitara's design is what makes it so reliable. There's no complicated air suspension to fail, no fancy electronic terrain management systems that require expensive computers to diagnose, and no overcomplicated all-wheel drive system with 17 different modes that'll break the moment the warranty expires. It's mechanical, it's straightforward, and any competent mechanic can work on it without needing a master's degree in electrical engineering. That's not primitive, that's brilliantly practical. Let's talk about something that'll shock you: parts availability and cost. Because Suzuki has been building vehicles globally for decades, Grand Vitara parts are readily available and shockingly affordable. We're talking about maintenance costs that are a fraction of what you'd pay for comparable vehicles from mainstream brands. Brake jobs, suspension work, routine maintenance, everything is reasonable. And that's before we even factor in how rarely things actually break. Your mechanic will appreciate the Grand Vitara almost as much as your bank account will. The real magic of the Grand Vitara shows up in developing markets and remote areas where it's become legendary. From outback Australian adventures to South American rural communities, from African safaris to Asian mountain villages, the Grand Vitara has proven itself in conditions that would absolutely destroy lesser vehicles. When people's livelihoods depend on their vehicles starting every single day, regardless of conditions, they choose the Grand Vitara. That's not brand loyalty, that's survival instinct backed by experience. Here's my favorite part about Grand Vitara ownership, the community. Owners of these vehicles are passionate, knowledgeable, and incredibly helpful. Online forums are packed with detailed maintenance guides, modification advice, and real-world reliability data from people who've put serious miles on their Grand Vitaras. It's like joining a club of people who figured out the cheat code to reliable vehicle ownership, and they're happy to share their secrets with anyone smart enough to ask. If Suzuki proves that compact can still mean capable and reliable, our next vehicle takes that equation and flips it. We're going from small and mighty to something that's rewriting the reliability rules in unexpected ways.
Number 6 is the Nissan Rogue, and I can already hear some of you typing angry comments. Wait, a Nissan on a reliability list? Have you lost your mind? But hold on, because the Rogue story is way more interesting than you think, and it's a perfect lesson in how reputation and reality don't always match up. Yes, Nissan has had some well-documented transmission nightmares with their CVTs in certain models and years, but here's the plot twist nobody talks about. The Rogue, especially from 2014 onwards, and particularly the second and third generations, has quietly become one of the most dependable compact SUVs you can buy. And the data backs this up. Let's get real for a second. Nissan learned some hard lessons from their CVT issues, and instead of sweeping problems under the rug, they actually fixed them. The Rogue received significant transmission improvements, extended warranties, and engineering updates that transformed it from problematic to genuinely reliable. The newer generation Rogues from around 2021 forward are running completely redesigned CVTs that have been torture tested into submission. We're talking about transmissions that learned from past mistakes and came back stronger, like a redemption arc in your favorite movie. The heart of the modern Rogue is a 2.5-liter four-cylinder engine that's part of Nissan's proven QR engine family, a lineup that's been powering various Nissan models for over 2 decades with stellar reliability records. This engine produces respectable power, delivers excellent fuel economy, and most importantly, it's built on a foundation of engineering that's been refined and perfected over millions of miles of real-world use. It's not flashy, it's not going to win drag races, but it will start every single morning without complaint, and that's exactly what reliability is about. Here's what makes the Rogue special in today's market. It's designed specifically for the realities of modern family life. The interior is spacious, the cargo area is genuinely useful, and the overall package is engineered for people who need a vehicle that handles school runs, grocery trips, and weekend adventures without drama. Nissan's ProPilot Assist in newer models is surprisingly sophisticated, offering semi-autonomous driving features that actually work reliably. We're talking about tech that reduces driver fatigue without adding the complexity nightmare that plagues some luxury brands. The Rogue's safety ratings are consistently top tier, which tells you something important about build quality. You can't achieve excellent crash test scores with flimsy construction or cheap materials. The platform is solid, the structure is robust, and the attention to occupant protection is genuine. This is engineering that prioritizes keeping people safe, and vehicles built with that mindset tend to be built to last in every other way too. Now let's talk about value, because this is where the Rogue becomes genuinely compelling. Because of Nissan's past reputation issues, these SUVs depreciate more than their Honda and Toyota competitors, which means savvy buyers can pick up slightly used Rogues for thousands less than comparable RAV4s or CRVs. You're getting similar reliability, comparable features, and excellent warranty coverage for significantly less money. That's not settling, that's smart shopping. And as more people discover that modern Rogues are actually dependable, those value gaps are starting to close. The real-world ownership experience paints a clear picture. Rogue owners are reporting trouble-free operation well past 100,000 miles. Routine maintenance costs are reasonable, and the vehicles are holding up to daily use without falling apart. Online forums and owner surveys show satisfaction rates climbing steadily. And that's not marketing spin. That's actual people voting with their wallets and their word-of-mouth recommendations.
And there you have it, 7 vehicles that prove reliability isn't dead. It's just hiding in plain sight. From the adventurous Subaru Forester to the underrated Mitsubishi ASX, from the family favorite Honda Pilot to the legendary Toyota RAV4,
from the no-nonsense Dacia Duster to the mighty Suzuki Grand Vitara, and finally to the redeemed Nissan Rogue. These machines are proof that you don't have to sacrifice dependability for capability, comfort, or value. So here's my challenge to you. If you own one of these bulletproof machines, drop a comment below and tell us your mileage. I want to hear your war stories, your crazy high odometer readings, and what you love most about your unkillable ride. And if you're in the market for a vehicle that won't leave you stranded, save this video. It might just save you thousands in repair bills. If this video helped you discover a reliable vehicle you didn't know about, smash that like button, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notification bell so you never miss our next deep dive into the cars that actually deliver on their promises. Share this with anyone who's tired of expensive repair bills and unreliable rides. They'll thank you later. What car do you think deserves to be on this list? Comment below. I read every single one, and your suggestions might just become our next video. Until next time, drive safe, maintain smart, and remember, the best car is the one that never needs the shop. Catch you in the next one.